Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Just Prem Podcast. Today's podcast is going to be about Ayurveda, the traditional Eastern medicine of dealing with health issues and everything else like that. But before we get this started, let's get Britt in here. So let's get her in here. Hey, Britt, you excited? Ready for this one?
I'm not prepared, but
Okay.
yeah, I guess I'm ready.
All right, so we'll get it started. So, guys, today's video is going to be about Ayurveda, right? It's the Indian traditional medicine and health way of dealing it. What happened is in the last few days, I discovered this doctor, Dr. K, who was having a debate with this other doctor, Dr. Mike, regarding Ayurveda and regular medicine and everything else like that. And then from there, Destiny and Dan had another conversation. So before we get into reacting and looking at what they said and what the debate was and give our own input, I think first we should go over what Ayurvedic is. Again, my pronunciations are always bad, so even as being an Indian, I don't do a good job of pronunciating. Britt does a better job. So, what is Ayurveda? It is a traditional system of medicine that originated in ancient India over 5,000 years ago. The way this medicine system basically came down is, yogis or sages back in the day, they had gotten this knowledge about medicine and health and everything else like that. And basically, they started to teach their disciples, their students. And then they also started teaching, helping people deal with medicine, health issues, and everything else like that. This lineage or this information was passed orally originally. Later on, a couple thousand years ago, it was written down. And from there, the way the medicine system actually works is the way it was supposed to work was all the teachers would teach their students, prepare them, get them ready, teach them everything about it. And then they would go again, cure people, and then they would teach other people, and you would follow a lineage of all these doctors. So that's the way it's supposed to work. The word Ayurveda is a Sanskrit word. Ayur means life, and Veda means knowledge or science. So Ayurveda can be also known as the science of life. Ayurveda views health and wellness as a balance between the body, mind, and spirit. It emphasizes the importance of maintaining this balance to prevent illness and promote well-being. According to Ayurvedic principles, each person is made up of a unique combination of 5 elements: ether, space, air, fire, water, and earth, which manifest as 3 doshas, energies called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. The doshas govern various physiological and psychological functions in the body. When they're in balance, a person experiences good health, but when they're out of balance, it can lead to illness. Ayurveda uses combination of diet, herbal remedies, lifestyle practices, yoga, meditation, and cleansing techniques to restore balance and promote health. The Ayurvedic treatment is always based on an individual. It's not done system wide. So the way it would be is you go see your doctor, and they will determine. They'll look at you. They'll talk to you. They'll spend a lot of time. They'll learn about you. They'll learn about your personality. They'll do pulse testing. They'll do a bunch of other different things. After that, they will decide on a regimen for you to help you. Ayurvedic medicine is more of preventative, preparing the body, getting the body ready, getting the mind ready, making sure you're in balance that when illnesses do come, you can fight them off, or you're in such balance that you are not getting as ill. The 3 doshas, it's basically different types of, I would put it like energy levels or different ways a person behaves. And based on those 3 doshas, you have to basically keep them in balance. It's 3 different things that you have to keep in balance, and as long as you're keeping them in balance, you'll be healthy. again, this is a quick summary. Maybe I'll do a detailed dive into what it is, but basically, a real quick summary. It's ancient Indian medicine that's been passed on for thousands of years, and it basically focuses on each individual person to make sure they're mentally, physically, spiritually, healthy, and their doshas are basically, kept in balance so they can live a healthy life. And it involves all different ways. It's a way of life. It's medicine, it's massages, it's enemas, it's all different types of stuff that come under Ayurveda. There's 8 schools, but we'll cover that another day. So that's what Ayurveda is. Now, what's happened is, let's talk about the videos we'll be reacting to and what's going on. So the initial video was a video of Dr. Mike and Dr. K talking about Eastern medicine and basically trying to figure out, they're having a debate and it gets somewhat heated, but the two have a very, I would say, semi-mature debate. They do respect each other. They do come to understanding, but they disagree, and they're all over, going back and forth. Who is Dr. Mike? Dr. Mike is known as is an online personality. He's a Russian American internet personality, family physician, amateur boxer. His Instagram account went viral in BuzzFeed, and People magazine named him the sexiest doctor alive in 2015. Who is Dr. K? Dr. K is Dr. Alok Kanoja. He's a psychiatrist. And basically, his story is, he kind of sounds like the Jay Shetty story, but he seems more credible. I have not looked into him, but we'll see. You know, but his story seems more legit than Jay Shetty's story. Basically, his story is, he grew up in America to Indian family, went to college, was struggling in college, and basically not figuring it out. Became addicted to video games, played a lot of video games, and basically had failed out of college, as you can say. His parents send him to India. He goes to be a monk. And when he gets there, the monks basically say to him, "You're just coming here as a failure. You're not leaving anything. You're not doing anything. This isn't for you. You got to go back." So for the next 7 years, he would spend his summers in India, go to medical school, go to Harvard, grab and, finish in psychiatry. And he basically, was working with high network individuals, CEOs, and everyone else like that. But when he realized that his whole goal was to help people, to help video gamers, to help people with addiction, and that was the masses he wanted to reach. So he started this Healthy Gamer YouTube channel, and he provides health information. The cool thing I like about him is, he takes the Western medicine and the Indian medicine and kind of combines it together and basically goes from there. Um, just to give a real quick disclaimer, I truly don't know, what these guys' political leanings, other leanings, and everything else is, and I really don't care. I think it's a good discussion to have, and it shouldn't matter which way what person leads or not. The other medical disclaimer: this is not medical advice. This is not. We're not doctors. We're not medical professionals. So if you have any medical things, go see your doctors, your other professionals that you see, whoever you have to see, and get the best advice for you and figure it out. This is just supposed to be a discussion on Eastern medicine, and is it good? Is it bad? And where does it go from there? So the clip that we'll be actually reacting to is a clip between Destiny and Dan. It's another YouTuber. Dan is a tech entrepreneur. He has a bunch of startups, real estate investor. And Destiny, who is a pretty big YouTuber, he started off in the video game world, and after video game world, he started debating. I would say, from reading up on him, I haven't listened to too much of his stuff. He seems to be leaning left, who goes against, or debates the right. He's debated Dr. Peterson, and he's basically debated a bunch of other people. So it'll be very interesting to see his debate with Dan, and they're basically having a conversation about Dr. Mike and Dr. K's video. So with that long intro, hopefully everyone's still here. We'll basically get started on the video. But this is the video that that Destiny and Dan talk about, and we'll link it in the description below. So
Wait.
with that being said, Britt, do you have any questions? Any additions you would like to make?
Yeah, the video that I have is this one. Is this the right video?
A single clip of Dr. K saying, you should try this.
Yep. It's going to be a little quick.
It's going fast like that on purpose?
Yes.
Okay.
So guys, this video is few clips from the overall big podcast that they had. I will link their podcast down below. You should go check it out on their channels. This is just some clips that were pulled out so we could react to them, and just see what they're talking about and basically fill in our own information on here.
Okay.
So let's get it started.
Instead of Western medicine.
Well, he said we have a clip like of Dr. K kind of addressing what you guys are talking about. You want to go to it? Does it support my argument or Steve's?
Sometimes what I'm saying is not.
No. Real talk here then. So you're pushing this and that this is okay. We do it
so
off of
wrong.
studies.
Oh, kill me.
That,
And
you're
we
not
need to
correct.
I am.
There's no
You're
evidence.
not saying-
When is
Why are they hollering? Okay. I just need to make sure I understand here. Okay. So this is Destiny debating some doctor about this.
No, this is Destiny debating a tech entrepreneur, business person. They have a podcast together.
Okay.
And they're debating the video that Dr. Mike and Dr. K did.
And Dr. Mike and Dr. K can you just give us, for people who haven't seen that video like me, was that video like tense? Were they in a heated, like the first video, the like main piece?
Yeah, they get pretty heated and get pretty aggressive, but I will have to give it to them. They keep it professional. They respect each other. They like each other. So it doesn't get heated to the point of, where they're fighting, but they do get pretty, Dr. Mike's pretty opinionated on certain things, and Dr. K is trying to figure it out. And then by the end, they kind of come to an understanding, but it does get very feisty.
And now this is just Destiny and his tech bro friend like reacting to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. K versus Dr. Mike video? What were your takeaways? Now, I think this video was kind of specifically focused towards Ayurveda, which is kind of basically, I guess you would say Eastern medicine, which is meditation and there's a whole bunch
Doshas and all that.
All that the life force is flowing through you, the midichlorians, if you will, from Star Wars. What was your kind of your instinct and your takeaway as far as how far did you get through it? First of all,
so just this right here, looking at debate again, I truly believe everyone should make their own decisions and have their own viewpoints. Truly, everyone should be able to speak what they think and they feel. As this person is. Just to be clear, I'll be disagreeing with this person a lot, just because I think he is not fully informed, in my opinion. So, but just looking at this person, he's already making fun of it, the life force in you or whatever it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the way they're talking about it, both of them so far, it seems like a little bit ignorant and uninformed. And like just even a little bit making fun, like you said.
Yeah, just to fill it in, again, there's been a lot of discussions and everything. So these are clips. So it might seem like, they're just making fun of it. The Dan guy is, but after we watch a few minutes, it'll kind of come together.
Okay.
We're at 50 minutes.
Okay. So what was your takeaway with the criticisms that Dr. Mike had to that?
I feel like, unfortunately, I don't think Dr. Mike was like very prepared philosophically for that conversation, which is where the majority of it was. It was just kind of like him out.
He said he doesn't think Dr. Mike was prepared philosophically for the conversation. I just saw the caption was wrong, so I wanted to fill that in.
Asking Dr. He kind of does what I do, or I used to in debates where I was like unprepared. You just kind of like ask questions and try to
YOLO.
Yeah, you kind of try to like poke a few holes when you're asking questions, but like clearly the other person has thought through a lot of this before. So if you're unequipped to have the conversation, you're not going to really be able to push meaningfully in any area. And I feel like Dr. Mike was kind of stuck in that.
I thought Dr. Mike did actually a somewhat decent job. I think a lot of the problems, there's been a lot of pushback Dr. K, unfortunately from less than credible people, which has kind of complicated the movement, as far as people don't want to see change on that. I'm kind of on the camp that I think I don't see a meaningful distinction between most of the Ayurvedic treatments and homeopathy.
I see a meaningful difference. Like, isn't homeopathy just like putting like a very small amount of something in?
Homeopathy can be derived as one thing from basically a very small mystical part, where certain medicines were taken from traditional, herbs, roots, and everything, and basically come up with tinctures and other stuff like that. It is not the same thing.
It's different things.
It's completely different.
Okay.
So that's where, again, I don't think this person is as informed. He's already made up his mind that he doesn't agree with it.
And I think that's a problem.
I think the argument that Dr. K was using was that the methodology that gives us Ayurveda also gave us a lot of other treatments that have since been subsumed into traditional medicine, and that without that sort of process of figuring out treatments on the Ayurvedic side, you might be missing the discovery of new therapeutic techniques that Western medicine would ever discover.
I mean, that's a lot of ifs, right? We don't really, I wouldn't say we work on that. I feel like
which part is an if there?
Saying like we got lucky with meditation, basically, and ashwagandha is actually kind of a useful herb, so to speak. Like, okay, sure. I feel like the scientific process of doing things is more important, and most of what we're seeing here is either placebo or open placebo, and I think that that's a problem.
Yeah, but it's hard.
So,
he is insufferable.
yeah, no. So again, then this guy goes on a rant about placebo, non-placebo, and just basically arguing stuff that doesn't even make sense in any way. Clearly, he doesn't have a good understanding of the medicine. He just thinks it's just placebo. It's like, oh, someone tells you,
And
hey,
like,
take this herb and you'll be
the
fit.
issue with him saying we got lucky with meditation.
Yeah, no. So basically, he's again. That's why I wanted to react to it, because I thought, hey, these are two pretty big. This is a big YouTube channel talking about it, and this guy comes off so sure, knowing that he knows and just talking about it, where he doesn't even know anything about it. So it was like, hey, let me just give some pushback to what he's saying. I think Destiny does a good job of pushing back to a certain extent, but this guy keeps on just talking about Ayurvedic medicine as some placebo where you take a herb and maybe it fixes you, maybe it doesn't. Just so everyone's aware.
I understand, like you explained at the beginning, Ayurveda is centuries older and lasted for centuries longer than anything we have in this like traditional, not anything, because like they just did say, some of it did actually come from these traditional medicines. Probably a lot of it, but it's like we did not get lucky with meditation. Like that was centuries of people kind of bumbling around until someone got somehow enlightened with this knowledge. We did not get lucky with it. And the thing that makes me the most aggravated is he's not even pointing to one single time it went wrong, time it went bad, time it went askew, amiss. Again, y'all, we're not advocating for it. We're not doctors, but it's like for the purpose of argument, it would have made it a lot stronger, in my opinion, if he was like, this happened. Maybe he does do that eventually.
Yeah. And just with this medicine, just talking about it, I can tell you my viewpoints a few years ago would have been like this Dan character. Being born, as what I've talked about, being born in India, moving to the US, I kind of ran away from my culture, and I kind of had this closed-minded view of, yes, Western medicine, Western culture, Western everything. And, as I've grown up and learned about myself and basically have grown up, I've realized there's good in everything. There's good in Western world, there's good in East world, and we should come together and mix and become, a melting pot of all this stuff together instead of being separated. And just for this Dan guy or anyone else that wants to know about the medicine, this medicine's 5,000 years old. It isn't some random trial thing. These rishis spent hundreds of years passing it on one to another, testing, figuring it out, and basically, putting this together. What happened is, as the centuries went on, the knowledge got less and less, But when the British came to India in the 1800s, they basically took the Indian people's identity, culture, and everything, and basically the media, the books, and everything turned it into where if you dressed as a traditional Indian person, you were a savage. Uh, you were not good. The traditional Indian clothes were bad. And they basically brainwashed the local people to forget their own culture, to forget what really worked for them. And they basically erased a lot of the Indian culture, medicine, and education system. Punjab and India used to be one of the most educated areas. The British came in, they destroyed that. They basically really not only took natural resources, but they destroyed the culture, in India overall while they were there. And since 1947 and back, now this medicine and this knowledge and everything is coming back, and more people are getting into it. So just so everyone's aware, the reason why this medicine isn't practiced as much, or there isn't as much information on it, it's because it was literally taken away. And when I said there's not much information, there's a lot of books on it, but they're written in Sanskrit, which is a traditional Indian language. And a lot of these texts are a couple thousand years old. So translating them, making sure that you get the right translation and everything is hard. So, that's why a lot of the stuff around this stuff doesn't exist, because the British, made it go away. And then just over centuries, as the teachers go further down the line, the knowledge sometimes goes missing.
And it was the British, it was the Spanish too, because, even in our own history here in the United States, we had the witch trials where they were killing people who were doing these remedies, and they were calling it dark magic and spells and things. And it was like, you couldn't even practice the natural medicine in that way. They also, completely wiped out a lot of the native people to the North America who were using traditional remedies. And so, yeah, it's real convenient several hundred years after many mass genocides for this, to sit here in his fancy studio with his friend and laugh about it and make jokes about it. But there's a reason, a very specific and very violent one, why we don't know a lot about it, why not as much money has been put into it.
Measured, it's hard to say placebo when we're talking about psychogenic illnesses. If you have depression and a placebo cures your depression is cured, right?
No, that's true. I would say that from when I looked into this, placebos are essentially only effective towards two things. Number one thing that can be effective towards is pain. And then the second thing is, as you mentioned, is kind of other mental illnesses that you can have. But there's never been a placebo that's cured someone's cancer or HIV or rabies or anything. No, not even not reliably, just not.
Well, I'm sure we can find edge cases where.
But I don't know. I mean, I would need to see a little bit more evidence. This guy's making some astoundingly sweeping statements.
Yep. And again, placebo and everything else, taken apart. He goes really into this placebo thing, it just happens. Someone takes a root and they think they're cured, and that's why it happens. It's all placebo. It's not placebo. There's science and everything behind it. Right. But he clearly does not seem to understand that. The only thing he understands is if it isn't Western medicine and it hasn't been touched by the pharma companies,
if he can't buy stock in it and trade it as a private equity bro, he doesn't think it's real.
Yeah. And I don't think he has any sources, really. He's just making stuff up.
He looks ridiculous. He's dressed as a clown on top of all of it.
And then their immune system was boosted and they got healthy and they worked out. And
you'll never be able to prove that in that case, right? To the point it becomes not even scientific as a result.
Sure.
So I guess the biggest issue I have with all of this is that it seems like Ayurveda is basically open placebo. Hey, listen, this is off label. I don't know if this is going to work, but maybe it'll work for you. And That's the problem, is that open placebo, in my mind, is not real. So
that might be the case, but I think the argument would be that in Western medicine, it's possible, maybe not, but it's possible that we hit a wall on a lot of the mind stuff, and a lot of that starts to feel almost placebo-y, where guesswork, like, oh, well, Lexapro, I'll try prescribing this. So like, oh,
yeah, no, a lot of drugs.
Like, if you're depending on who you are, you might feel like you've had this with like different medications, like sleep stuff. Oh, well, this doesn't work. Maybe try this, or maybe try that.
Yeah. So different things didn't work, and you kept trying pharmacological
intervention. Yeah,
different solutions until you found something that worked.
Medicine, we can call it. Yeah.
Medicine. Well, I was trying to seem a little bit smarter there.
So this guy basically, goes and says, hey, our Ayurvedic medicine is placebo. People just try it. You try one thing. If it works, you go on to the next. You try another thing, you go on to the next. But that's also true in the Western medicine. How many people have tried a medicine, it doesn't work, they go to the next medicine. If it doesn't work, they go to the next medicine. And how many medicines have we had over the years where originally they were thought to be great, originally they worked, and then later it was found out like, oh, they did a lot more damage than everyone thought. The opiate crisis, even other medicines. So even there, he is he doesn't get it, in my opinion.
Issue is open placebo, I think, is a scam. Now,
when you say open placebo, what does that mean?
Distraction, like the baby.
Pain is a perceived thing. If you don't perceive the pain, there's no pain there. Whether it's because you're distracted or something else, right?
Well, pain is a bad example because it's the one thing that placebos are kind of known to be able to affect.
Okay.
Right? But if we use anything else, depression, schizophrenia.
Okay, wait. Like, not to get too philosophical here, but what he's calling an open placebo could be just a cure. Like, what's the difference between that and a medicine if it works? Like, he's saying if you're distracted, that's a way to make the pain go down in your body. And so if your perception of the pain goes down, your actual pain has gone down, and really that's just placebo. But like, what's the difference between that and medicine if it's reliable and it works?
Well, the medicine was tested by some research lab and someone paid for that study, so it must be more proven. No, his arguments really don't make sense. And Destiny does push against him, but I think just because Destiny isn't as educated in the topic, he can only push back so much.
Any type of manic episode, any type of compulsive disorder, the science is out completely there. And I think relying on, oh, your earth chakra is out of alignment, I think is damaging because there's nothing supporting it. And also, anyone that goes and seeks that line of therapy is someone that is now not seeking something that is more proven by DSM.
I can kind of agree with you. The only problem is it feels like for the mind stuff, it feels like we're having a lot of trouble making headway there, like on the medical side. It feels like we're having a lot of trouble making advancements there.
I don't agree.
Like, aren't we prescribing like the same like SSRIs we have for like 40, 50 years?
Sure.
Like,
pharmacologically, there can be some argument to be made to say that there hasn't been enough stuff. And there's definitely been arguments that have been made about like how the studies are going. Like, this is only 10% more effective than placebo, but it gets full FDA approval as a result of that. And I think that is not good. There are drugs that cure things. It's not like, hey, it cures 10%. Like, for instance, there's the rabies vaccine. And if you take the rabies vaccine, that will prevent you from getting rabies if you get it afterwards, basically 100% of the time.
Yeah. Not a psychological thing, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not a psychological thing. But there are also drugs that if you are having a manic episode and you are schizophrenic, that can statistically, off of a large group of people and even individually, have a greater likelihood of helping you treat that mania.
Kind of. They manage some of the symptoms, yeah.
I guess that's all.
What is the point? What are these people talking about even? I don't understand why they thought they even needed to discuss this. They have no idea about any of it.
Well, Destiny does know a little bit because he seems to be more educated on it. This Dan guy does not seem to know much.
I want to see this Dan guy's stock portfolio. I bet you he has a lot of pharmacological investments, if I had to guess.
Yeah, I don't know what his stock portfolio is. I know he was in the tech world, and that's it. And I want to I do believe, just to be clear, I do believe there, like any other medicine, like any other things, there is, a lot of people selling things out there that they'll call Ayurvedic and, selling medicines, might be selling you something. Go look at the source. Just because someone says it's Ayurvedic, it's not. Like, you should, if you're going to, you can learn about it on your own, do whatever. But if you're going to go see someone with a history, look where they've studied, look who they've studied under, and, go to them. Most Ayurvedic people will not initially try to give you stuff They will try to teach you meditation, how to eat, how to drink. Just some few examples. The Ayurvedic way would be, hey, when you're eating, sit straight. When you're eating, focus only on your food and chew and chew and chew and chew, so your food is dissolved, so the saliva takes it in, so it's easier for your stomach to process, so your body can process and break it down a lot quicker. When you're watching something, when you're busy and when you're talking, you lose track and you're not chewing properly. Or don't drink water 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after you eat. There's all these things that are done to help your body process food, to process things. And the medicine is or the treatment is tailored to each individual person, because Ayurveda doesn't believe that just because you got the same problem, the solution's the same. It depends on what type of body you have. Do you have heat in your body? How you process food based on your body and the way you're acting and your emotions and everything. There's a lot of things that go into account. And based on that, there's a regimen that's decided. So it just isn't, hey, take this, now you're on Ayurvedic. Ayurvedic medicine is, I would say, in my opinion, a way of life that helps you prevent stuff in the long term and deal with stuff. And it's hard to follow some of the stuff, not drinking water 30 minutes before or after you eat is tough. It's really tough. Most of the times I don't follow that rule. I try to, or sitting there quietly and not having TV, not talking, eating with my back straight. I don't do that half the time. I try sometimes, it's hard. So I'm not even saying I practice all these things all the time, but slowly as I'm learning about it, it's starting to make more and more sense, and I'm starting to incorporate more stuff. So let's go. And the video is sped up, guys. Copyright, just to get it done quick. It might be sped up a little too much, so next time it'll be a tad bit slower.
Oh, that's all we could say is managing the symptoms. That would be, a disease is only a collection of symptoms.
Kind of, yeah. But like a rabies vaccine doesn't just help you manage the symptoms. It is for a little bit. But
rabies is like a virus, right?
Sure. But
like
like any kind of thing that's eliminating the pathogens in your body isn't necessarily just, a lot of it is just symptom management as your body clears something.
Sure.
But, yeah.
So yeah, that's my main issue is I feel like my main concern with Dr. K is I feel like anyone who falls down that rabbit hole of doing something Ayurvedic or doing one of those things and hoping that this is going to be the cure is someone that doesn't seek traditional Western science, peer-reviewed.
That's just not true. I mean, me and you are examples of that. We
Yeah,
will
no.
try Ayurveda, and then if it's like something that doesn't feel like it's helping, or if it's something very serious that we know for sure we need to go to the hospital because we know for sure that like we'll go to either one. So this guy, I mean, that's just wrong. 2 examples right here. He's just talking out the side of his neck.
Yeah, no, he doesn't seem like he's just made up his mind about certain things and go a certain way. What Dr. K preaches is, hey, take Eastern medicine and Western medicine and take certain things that apply from Eastern medicine in his practice. He talks to his patients, he tells them about it. And if they want to try it, he tells them meditations and other things to help them, stuff like that. It's a mixture. Our lives, we're a mixture. I don't think one is better than the other. I don't think one is greater than the other. It's a mixture. If I have a broken arm, I'm going to the hospital. If I'm throwing up and I can't hold water down and I can't hold anything and I need an IV to get fluids in, I'm going to go get an IV. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, it's going to just work out. I'm going to meditate and stuff like that. There are certain problems where you go get it fixed at the doctor's. Others, for me personally, and I'll just talk about my own experience, mental health, going to the doctors and the Western medicine did not work. It made it way worse. It was when I went to Eastern medicine, when I started meditating, when I started doing breath work, when I started watching my thoughts, when I started doing all that, that's what helped me with my mental health, issues that I was having. it wasn't the Western medicine. The Western medicine actually made it a lot worse. It even put me in a worse place just overall, mentally, physically, emotionally, in every single way. It's not until, personally for myself, everyone's going to be different. So for me, it wasn't until I started meditating, relaxing my mind, doing breath work, doing breath exercises, cold showers, cold bath, all that stuff combined is what helped me get out of it. It wasn't the Western medicine, and again, that's, like I said, it's to each their own, and whatever works for you works for you. For some people, the Western medicine works phenomenally well, and for them, they should continue with it.
Okay, here, this is boring. We agree that you shouldn't be going alternative medicine, but we're trying traditional medicine.
Well, I guess
right?
so the question here is with Dr. K pushing that type of stuff, is that harmful? Yes.
I've had so many people claim this. Like and roll the clip. Dan should have given them to you.
I have some quotes.
Is there a single clip of Dr. K saying you should try this instead of Western medicine?
Well, he said Ayurveda can be used to predict complications of COVID.
Okay.
Kind of takes away my point a little bit when I misspelled.
Wait, okay, let me...
Yeah.
Oh, God, I don't have any.
He said clinical evidence is mixed on homeopathy.
So hold on. So you made the strong claim of...
Yes,
it seems like Dr. K is prescribing or recommending Ayurvedic treatments.
I think he's pushing it by doing it.
What does pushing mean?
I mean, instead of pushing known, effective...
When you say pushing, are you saying that he's just saying that...
practicing.
So he's saying do this instead of Western medicine.
Okay.
This guy is like literally the Twitter comment section come to life. Y'all are so scared of stuff. It is astonishing. Like...
No.
Pushing, like it's even using the same words. He's pushing. It's almost like, is he serious or is he being paid by someone? That's why I'm like, I need to see his stock portfolio before I take any more consideration of what he's saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. And Dr. K, just from a few videos I watched of him, I haven't watched many videos, so I don't know what his old videos say or what he says. He is very careful. He doesn't say Western medicine. He doesn't say don't do Western medicine. He actually practices Western medicine. That's what he practices. He incorporates Eastern medicine practices that he's learned over the years if he thinks it'll help a patient. If he thinks, hey, if this will help a patient, I will tell them, I will give them the options, tell them what it is, why he thinks it will work for them. And then if they want to try meditating, try other things, he'll do that. So Dr. K, from whatever I've seen, is nowhere near what this guy is. I would be closer to, and I'm not nowhere near what this guy's saying, but I would even be further than Dr. K on. He kind of downplays it a little bit more, and I can understand why, being a Harvard educated doctor, he probably wants to stay clear, doesn't want to lose his license, doesn't want anything else like that. So that being said, I think Dr. K is pretty conservative when it comes to this stuff, and that's why I think he's someone good that people can listen to if they want to.
That's not fair, because if you're hungry and I give you a ham sandwich instead of a tuna sandwich, you can't say, oh, he's saying eat the ham instead of the tuna. I've only given you one option under that case. I've said do this.
So Dr. K never talk about traditional medicine ever?
He might, but in my mind, any conversation at all that has to do with homeopathy or similar pseudo fake science is damaging.
So are there false statements that he's made?
I think anything having to do with it is going to be a false statement.
So that statement that you just read was false. There's no such thing as any research that shows that you could predict outcomes with COVID because of doshas or whatever.
Okay, so so he did say Ayurveda can be used to predict complications of COVID. That is something that he did say.
Yeah, is that not true?
Okay. Someone having a sore leg can be used to predict complications of COVID. It is meaningless without studies behind it.
Well, is there a study behind that?
There can be a study behind the fact that if you wear jeans 3 days out of the week, that could predict complications of COVID.
Is there?
Correlation does not equal causation. And that is the foundation of Ayurveda, is just basically saying, a lot of these things look lined up. If enough people piss and the ants drink it, you got diabetes.
Yeah, but that's how medical trials work as well, right?
No, medical trials work off of A/B testing, doing large-scale tests and individual tests, and seeing if there's measured results.
Yeah. And you correlate like a medicine, a therapy with a particular outcome, right?
But your ants drinking your piss versus not does not necessarily mean you have diabetes. That could be something completely different. If you watch it.
And I'm sure there might be other things that...
Even with this, he just thinks that just because you sit in a lab and you were funded for a research study, that is the right way of testing it. He doesn't understand that this practice has been going on for thousands of years. Not everyone has been stupid, idiotic, over thousands of years following this practice. he just, and while they were doing it over thousands of years, it's literally people spent their whole lives on this. From the time they were kids, they would go and study about this and look at patients and work with patients and document what they were doing and go through every patient again and again, different herbs, different medicines, you know. And I think one thing this guy doesn't understand is that probably a lot of the medicine, a lot of the stuff that we get in the pharma world, it does come from natural plants. A lot of times it's derived from natural product. You know,
Exactly.
there's one thing, again, I'm not going to say it, but there's the drug that people take. It comes from a natural plant and they take it in the state of Punjab. That
Mhm.
drug basically, all the farmers, majority of the people used to take it every day. And when they took that drug, they basically had energy. They were healthy. They were strong. They could focus. It kind of worked like Adderall. They could basically focus, have a good heart health, live long lives. And they basically took that. And for hundreds of years, it was, now we've taken versions of that, put it into a pill, it's messed around with it, put a patent on it, and served as medicine, you know. So that, I don't think this guy even understands that a lot of
elevated
the
A1C.
medicines in the Western world do come from plant medicine, do come from ancient medicines. It's just whoever the medicine people were, you know, whoever the doctors or whichever lab person, they went and saw this stuff. They saw it in old text. Everything comes from old text. Music comes from old text. You know, everything basically comes from the past. This isn't some new knowledge that this is my belief, that this isn't some new knowledge that we're getting. This knowledge already exists. And because this knowledge already exists in the universe, in the ether, we pull it down. And certain people are better at pulling certain things down, getting the information, and then passing it on to the world. You know, different people are meant for different things. So, yeah. Let's continue.
Like the fact that we call type 1 and type 2 diabetes like the same thing, that's really fucking weird to me. I don't know why those are the same disease at all. But like, you could theoretically, so for instance, I could say like peeing into an anthill or whatever. I don't know. That might even be more predictive power than saying somebody's just a diabetic. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm sure we can think of examples, but I'm just saying that like
the problem I have at the foundation of it is that every person who goes down this path, I think, is
so pause it here.
I don't want to say is lost, but it's damaged.
Just to give people why they keep on talking about peeing in an anthill. That was one of the examples that Dr. K gave to Dr. Mike in the podcast. And he basically, Dr. Mike says, well, they didn't know whatever. And he basically says, no, they knew, dude. Back in the day, they used to have people go piss near an anthill. And if the ants drank it, that means your sugar levels are high. Based on that, you know, you had diabetes issues. And based on that, they prescribed you certain things, certain ways. And just so everyone knows, Ayurvedic medicine isn't always just taking some remedies, taking some potions, or taking some stuff. A lot of it is about living a lifestyle, about when you wake up or drinking water, you know, depending on your body type, your doshas, and what's going on, you know, diet that works for your body type and your mental type and where you are in life. There's different diets. You know, someone might be told to eat cold food and eat vegetables and everything. Another person might be told, don't eat spicy food, don't eat this, based on what they've diagnosed your body and everything else like that. So it's, yeah. Let's get back to this.
And I do have one study.
Okay, just real quick, hold on. You have to substantiate that. If we're going to be big
I'm
practitioners,
going to say this. So I'm going to send you. I'll send you a link right now.
Okay.
Actually, I'll send it to Lycan as well. Lycan can pull this up here. Control V. Okay, and then to Destiny. Control V. Okay, so this study that I'm sending to you right now.
Oh, goody. He's got us a study.
I can pull this up. Okay, the relevant part of this in the study, the patients who received alternative medicine were more likely to refuse additional cancer treatment. So this had to do with people who had cancer that were being suggested alternative methods as well. So the fact the existence of homeopathy and Ayurvedic medicine caused immeasurable harm.
Wait, what did he say? Hold on.
The patients who received alternative medicine were more likely to refuse additional cancer treatment. So this
The patients who received alternative medicine treatments were more likely to refuse traditional. Okay. And that he's saying that's a bad thing.
Well, let's listen.
had to do with people who had cancer that were being suggested alternative methods as well. So the fact the existence of homeopathy and Ayurvedic medicine caused immeasurable harm and caused more death as a result of that. And that if those alternative medicines didn't exist, that there would be more people alive.
But you don't know.
That's not what that means.
No,
not
that's
what it means.
that's why I thought this video was worth reacting to, because I just been down on like the Dr. K trail, and then this Destiny character popped up, and then I was like, oh, what are they talking about? Let's see what these two guys have their input. You know, I liked Dr. Mike and Dr. K's conversation, so I was like, let's see what their reaction is. When listening to this guy, it just seemed like I don't even know what he's talking about. So I was like, you know, let's talk about it. Let's bring awareness to this and let's inform people just overall what it is, and then let people make their own informed decision. And again, if you agree with this guy, that is, I would suggest that you go do research, go ask questions. And if you still agree with them, that's your prerogative and you should do that. But this guy does not seem like he's done much research on this. He's just come in with the point of Ayurveda is bad, it's bad, it's bad. It destroys people, so it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. It's placebo, it's bad.
He seems too invested for someone who has no idea what he's talking about. That's what I'll say.
I agree.
What if it's the case that,
I do know that. What if the study said?
What if it's the case that these complementary therapies increase patient outcomes, but there's this downside that people that get the complementary therapies refuse traditional medicine, such that whatever gain you have is defeated by the people that refuse it? That could be the case. Let me finish. Holy shit! There's no possible way you can respond to what I'm saying when you haven't even listened to what I'm saying. You're about to interrupt by saying the same
can't say I'm about to interrupt.
You
before I
were.
interrupt. No,
Well, no,
I was breathing.
They need to relax.
You don't know that. I was breathing.
So
you were
then
assuming.
the next part of the study wouldn't be, oh, well, some people refuse normal treatment. Throw all that shit away. The next part would be like, okay, well, there's some benefit here and there's some downside. Is there any way we can hold on to the benefit and minimize the downside? That would be the next step if you're being intellectually honest.
Sure, I can see where you're coming from on that front, and I understand that there is value in mental health. There's value in talk therapy, in meditation. These are not useless things. So literally, as I said, psychology and psychiatry exist to do that. Talk therapy is a real thing. There's no pharmacological backing behind that. My issue is all of those things are proven out in studies. There's DSMs that are frequently, the DSM is frequently updated.
What's proven out in studies?
The best way of handling situations. So for instance,
what?
okay, like for instance, let's say that you just got divorced, right? The wrong thing for me to do is to be like, hey man, don't worry about it. She was a bitch. You'll find another one. That's the wrong way to do it, because there's been studies, there's been discussion about that. Is the best way to deal with grief in that situation isn't to minimize the person's grief, but instead to talk through them with it and to say, hey, and to empathize with them, be like, yeah, this sucks,
I mean,
man.
those conventional things,
but that's how we get someplace.
Okay, but for mental illness, where's the progress on that? It feels like there hasn't been much.
I feel like there's been a tremendous amount. If you go back 50 years, they didn't even have autism. People were quote unquote neurotic. Now we have, we've removed Asperger's. We've done a lot of stuff.
Do you think we've improved things like for like depression or anxiety or stuff like that? Have we made
Yeah, so they made up some new categories for new stuff. That's our great lead. Our leaps forward. Like They used to call stuff one thing, now they call it something else. That's how much progress we've made in making treating illness.
I didn't think about the, what his stock portfolio holds. And again, this is just me. Now that I'm thinking about the words you said, it might hold some pharma stocks, because this guy is just, I guess I listened to it on fast speed.
Right.
And so I didn't really spend too much time thinking, but it's just, this guy is just, I don't know why he has such strong feelings without knowing anything about it.
What's this guy's name? I want to look up. Does he own a substantial portion of BetterHelp or something?
Significant gains there in treatments in the past 30, 40, 50 years?
I think we've made massive improvements in those elements.
Yeah.
I think
so
people
that's
that
the thing,
lives, their lives would be
like we've made massive improvements as just a country of the US.
Yeah.
We're in the worst mental health crisis that we've seen in recent history. I can't say what it was a couple hundred years ago.
I don't know. I couldn't speak to it if it's gotten better or if it's gotten worse. I don't know. Because I don't know what metric we're using.
Well, they've done polls and studies and just overall people that are reporting to doctors. And again, you can get data. There's actually data out there, and we can even pull it. But there is data to say that mental health overall has gotten worse in the last 50 years. And a lot of it there's a lot of factors, technology, people seeing Instagram, Facebook, these addictions, sitting there, seeing other people and living like seeming like they live these phenomenal lives, having effect on your life. The economy isn't really doing too well for most of the people, with this whole AI stuff coming out, tech and everything improvement. People don't know what they're going to do, what happened in the last couple of years. So there's a lot of factors, but it doesn't seem like mental health is improving from my viewpoint. And from some studies, from some research I read, again, I don't remember exactly what it was, so I'll have to verify it. So I'll just say, based on my own experiences, hearing people, seeing people, mental health seems to be doing worse in the country, not better.
Otherwise unlivable as a result of medication are able to live and are thankful.
Well, when you think about autism, like, is
Sure.
it because of the different medications and stuff we've discovered, or are we just gotten better at dealing with people with
Well,
autism?
autism is a relatively newcomer to this. There's a lot of unknowns that come with autism.
Almost the
specifically.
entire thing. We don't know
Yeah, no,
what
it is.
autism
It's a completely, I don't want to say unknown,
Oh
but
my God.
we do know that early intervention on autism is especially important. Doing basically physical therapy,
Early intervention for
occupational
what?
for autism.
Yeah, but like, you're not like curing or treating like the autism, right?
You are. Well, I mean, essentially you're curing and treating the symptoms. So like of autism.
You're just giving people coping skills, basically.
Well, it's hard. Again, we have to remember that any mental disease is a collection of symptoms and time. That's it.
Well, but also we would hope, or our approach from the West is an underlying like mechanism that's to be explaining the particular thing as well, right? Like for depression, we hope that it's some serotonin imbalance, or for anxiety or whatever else, we hope it's some imbalance of neurochemicals that can be treated in some way, right? That's the goal.
Sure, but
Or
like
the thought, that approach, yeah.
Like taking schizophrenia. Like people would
That's
say
different, yeah.
Well, no. But I'm just saying, like the difference between drug-induced psychosis, brief psychotic disorder, schizophreniform, and schizophrenia. Like, with the exception of the drug-induced psychosis, the difference between those three things is only time. All those things, all the symptoms are the same. The only difference is how long have you had the symptoms.
Okay.
So it's three different diseases, and basically as it progresses, the diagnosis change. So, anyways, all these things said, my only issue is I feel that as we go and we do these studies and we get more information of the best way to handle issues, I do agree that individualized care is important and good, and you should know the person you're talking to, and you should try to create a treatment plan for that person. I don't think that should be based on, oh, this person is big boned and their chakra.
Yeah, but I don't think Dr. K's ever said that. I feel like Dr. K does this mind break thing where people hear him say a word, and then in your brain you're
Well,
like,
I don't-
it's like you're fighting ghosts right now. You're like, you shouldn't be recommending.
I don't even know where he's getting. You got the big bone and the chakra and this and that. That's not
Yeah,
even
he's just
Ayurvedic
making
medicine.
it up. And I kind of like identify a little bit with Dr. K because I don't really watch Destiny. The last time that he came across my radar was during the Adam 22 scandal, whenever he was seemingly kind of like defending the depravity and saying he had an open relationship himself. So I mean, my repertoire of Destiny knowledge is pretty much that. Okay, so I'm definitely not trying to rush to his like fan club or anything like that, but I feel like I have to agree with what he's like saying here. And what did this guy say? Hold on.
And that's, while you're bringing up, that's the perfect thing, right? What you just said. You do not agree with Destiny on whatever his viewpoints were on Adam 22. I don't even know what they were, or it seems like. But you can agree with them on this point. And that's what we as a society have to do. We have to start looking at people and saying, okay, I agree with you here. I disagree with you here. It's okay, we disagree. I still agree with you on these things. I think in society, we've come to a point where it's everything or nothing. There is no middle ground. This would be a perfect example. I do. All I know is I read that Destiny's views are leftist. He likes to go against the right. But I don't even know what that means. I haven't heard his debates, and I don't believe in the left or right thing. I think we are individuals, and there shouldn't be a left or right. We should all have our beliefs and basically come together as a society and agree on some ways to live and some things that we can find common ground on and kind of go forward with that. So I don't believe on left side or right side, I don't know which ones of his arguments I would agree with or disagree with. I haven't heard many of his takes. So I don't even know. But this I can agree with him on. And then tomorrow there might be something that I disagree with him on, and that's completely fine.
Individualized care is important and good, and you should know the person you're talking to, and you should try to create a treatment plan for that person. I don't think that should be based on, oh, this person is big boned and their chakra.
Yeah, but I don't think Dr. K's ever said that. I feel like Dr. K.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. I feel like I kind of identify with that too, though, because it's like I could say something so middle of the damn road, something so obvious, so common sense. And there's going to be somebody coming out to squawk about I'm being a extremist, or I'm being a conspiracy theorist, or I'm being a whatever, put in insert whatever. And it's like, yeah, no, I mean, I like, why don't you like actually attack what the guy actually said? Maybe there could be a point there.
This mind break thing where people hear him say a word and then in your brain you're like boxing, you're fighting ghosts right now. You're like, you shouldn't be recommending Ayurveda over traditional Western medicine and it's horrible, push this up. And it's like, show me one quote of him ever doing it. I've never, he like hedges so much in everything he says.
So I will get you, I guess, clips of him pushing it earlier on, probably not so much as now, as he's created a business, which is fine. But there are clips of him definitely pushing this type of thing and saying that it's helpful. And there's been people who've gone to.
No, that's a different claim. You're making a totally different claim. If you're going to say there's been times where you said alternative medicine can be helpful, that is in a totally different category. There's times where you're saying like this is better than Western medicine, or you should do this instead of Western medicine, or Western medicine isn't as effective as this. So that's the strong claim. The weak claim over here is like, well, some alternative medicine help. Even hospitals now will have like aromatherapy to help you recover from treatments or whatever, or do like holistic approach to care.
Is there studies based on those?
There probably is. Like,
yeah, that's a differentiating factor.
So we have a clip.
Do they have any studies? Got any of those studies?
Oh, one of the other stories we were going to talk about was research and studies at your favorite alma mater. No.
LSU?
Yeah. It was another story, and maybe we'll keep it for another day. But these research and studies and everything at universities, at everywhere else, go look at who paid for them. Go look at
I did studies at LSU. I was a graduate research assistant like 10 years ago.
So who paid for whatever you were studying?
That's a great question. I have no idea. I really don't know. I mean, it was the English department, but like, who did the English department get the money for? And was it earmarked for a specific study?
Yeah, no, LSU
is a big
some
one.
information
Was
came
it
out.
Russia?
No, it was your favorite companies that exist.
Pfizer? Novo Nordisk?
From where you are at.
ExxonMobil?
Shell.
Shell paid for studies at LSU.
They were given a seat on the board and to able to. It's crazy.
Oh, we're gonna have to talk about that another day, probably, like you said, because we're still like making our way through this.
Like of Dr. K kind of addressing what you guys are talking about. You want to go to it?
It depends who sent it. Does it support my argument or Steve's?
I found it on Google.
Okay.
Our subreddit, I think.
Okay. That's probably going to support Steve's argument then. So that's fine. Go ahead and you can play it real quick.
All right.
Ayurvedic discussion recently is there was once again another post that offered a lot of really good criticisms about some of the scientific studies we were citing and the low quality of those studies. So I don't know if y'all have noticed, but we've sort of taken a step back from Ayurveda. That doesn't mean that we're actually actively revisiting it. Right? So we're sort of looking through the research and really trying to read tons and tons of articles to really figure out, okay, what is it? What can we say that's like sort of scientifically valid? And like, what is like more of our interpretation, which by the way, I'm totally fine doing, right? So I'm totally fine on stream. And I hope, I make this pretty clear that sometimes what I'm saying is very supported by science. Sometimes what I'm saying is more supported by clinical experience. And sometimes what I'm saying is not based on medicine or science at all, but is more personal or spiritual in nature. And I think a lot of the people that appreciate our community are ones that sort of appreciate the spectrum because there are different ways of looking at things. Part of the reason that we...
Okay. So my issue with that is a third part, is I think that mysticism and spirituality has essentially almost no place in treating mental health.
Oh my God. I could not disagree more with him.
Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, this guy has no clue. And again, that's his belief.
Listen, I'll tell you what. When I was 19 years old, you know this, obviously, but I'll say it like for people that don't, I almost died. I really almost died. I was hanging on by a thread to life, and I had a lot of surgeries. I was in and out of the hospital for 5 or 6 months. I was 19. It was like 2009, 2008, maybe 10, something like that. And my doctor treating me, he would literally, before he would go into the surgeries, he would pray. And I was like not really like religious at the time, but I would like let him do it. And I overheard him talking to my mom, like, I don't know what it is, but like when I pray over the patients or whatever, like it's always goes better. Like, I know it doesn't really like have much to do with the surgery or whatever. And like, he was almost trying to explain himself or whatever, but like, he's a doctor. He's dedicated his whole life to doing this type of medicine, right? Like he did surgery in a hospital. And it's like, even just that, like, that is treating not just mental health. Like I was dying. Like I was physically going to not be alive if I didn't have this surgery. And the doctor's praying, even though he went to medical school. And again, I wasn't really religious at the time, but he was the doctor and he was saying it. So I just went with it. I'm like, okay, amen.
My thing is, again, if being spiritual, being religious, being atheist, being whatever, whatever you're doing, and you're not hurting anyone else, and it's making your life better, or if
Yeah.
you're doing meditations and you're feeling better versus the other way, if you're doing breath work and that makes you feel better, whatever it is, right? If you're getting better, who cares?
And Jenna is saying religion is faith-based, but medicine is science and fact-based. But that is not what this guy said. He said mysticism and spirituality have no place in mental health. And that's just not true. Religion may not, because religion is an organized institution that is run by men and women or women, people, humans. Hopefully. Some of them I think is run by demons, but that's a story for another day. But spirituality, understanding that you are something that's greater or separate or different from just a blob of flesh, is inherently a part of mental health. Otherwise, you're nihilistic. Religion, I agree. I don't think like anyone needs to be pushing a religion. But Ayurveda, that's another misconception. Ayurvedic medicine, Ayurveda, science of life, is not religious. It does have a lot of overlap with Hinduism and the, Indian religions, or, the religions of the Indus Valley, but it isn't religious. And so Ayurveda and Ayurvedic medicine is not religion. So that's another thing to kind of differentiate.
Agree.
Okay.
And there might be,
I'm sorry, it's such a brave statement. I just had to take a moment to just.
Well, you're arguing
That's
against
so
it,
brave.
motherfucker.
That's so brave.
It is. It's well,
God, that's
in
so
this
brave.
day and age, it is brave, and that's what he's doing.
You should do the roll the clip.
Just to add just a little bit to what I'm had just said, because it came to mind. Like religion would be like go to the temple and pray to Lord whoever, right? Like there's certain Hindu gods that are supposed to be helpful for certain things, fertility or whatever, crop growing or whatever. Ayurveda does not say to go to the temple and pray to somebody. Ayurveda says maybe like something to do with yoga and asanas, but more so it's going to be like nature and natural stuff that you can use and implement in your life and your body. Like Prem said, sometimes it's other stuff like when you eat or when you wake up, but you're never going to see an Ayurvedic medicine like rush down to the temple. That's what you got to do. That's different. That's not the same thing.
Yep.
But you shouldn't pray for people.
Sorry, did you
And
want to
again, even that, right? Just saying, if for someone praying to their God helps them with their mental health, great. That's good for them, But overall, like you said, this isn't supposed to be religious. This is supposed to be science of life. It's to improve your life. It is, tactics to improve your life, and belief and all that does play a part in it, but it's nothing to do with the religion, like you said.
Will get better, and so you should like take them to the hospital.
I've never said that.
Do that. Oh, make one now. Do it. Talk about how important it is.
Hey, listen, if there's some shit going on, don't be praying for their health. Go donate some money to me so that I can pray for you.
Okay.
No. Okay, fine. Well, anyways, listen. No, that was my whole spiel. Is I think there's no difference between Ayurveda and homeopathy. Do you think there's a meaningful difference?
I don't know what Ayurveda to say.
Okay.
Do you think that right now we should kill all research on all forms of alternative medicine?
Yes.
Okay, that's retarded and indefensible.
That's just okay. He just gave away his bias. We should end. His whole problem with it is that it's not science-based. So then Destiny asks him, okay, fine. Should we do some science studies? Should we do some science studies to see if it works? And he said, absolutely not. This man has definitely got a Pfizer or Novo Nordisk or some shit. I mean, he's invested somewhere. I need to see his portfolio. He doesn't even think we should test it and see something that's been being used for thousands of years. That's crazy. Something's wrong with him.
When you say alternative medicine,
I don't like the R word, but it is indefensible.
I assume you mean like homeopathy.
Anything that isn't
Okay, to be clear. Ask me, should we kill all research into homeopathy?
Should we? No, homeopathy is a particular thing that seems to have no medical value. Should we
I don't know why he keeps bringing up this homeopathy. It's a different thing.
That's what he thinks that the whole medicine is. He thinks Ayurveda is that's it. You take some tinctures, you take some of that, and that's it. That's all the medicine. For most people, if you're going to look into this, what you will see, it isn't that much about putting, giving you tinctures and medicines and everything else like that. It's not about that. It's more about teaching you what your body is, how your body works, how food works, how things affect you, how meditation helps you, how this thing helps you. And then there is cleanses. We have a lot of stuff in our stomachs that most of us are not even aware of. I was not until I started doing gut research and, looking into that. So it's about clearing your system out.
Right.
If you go to a good Ayurvedic doctor, they will first, before they try to push medicine, they will first try to tell you, change your diet, change this, eat like this, don't eat at this time, don't do this. They'll tell you ways to improve how you process food, which food you take in, what food is affecting you based on your doshas and your body and where you're at and your mind. They'll spend a lot of time on that. The pills and other things or tinctures and everything that he's talking about, that's a very small form of it.
Like meditation.
No, because
okay, well, wouldn't Dan?
That's one part.
That's one part now. But what would Dan have 30 years ago have said? Meditation? That's some retarded Buddhist bullshit. Like who the f cares? Like it's meditation. You're not going to find enlightenment when you've got depression. Wouldn't you?
This is not a fair argument.
Why?
Tell me, should we kill all research into homeopathy right now?
No, that's a very specific type of intervention that we've researched.
It's a huge industry that we have.
Why can you say we should kill homeopathy?
Because it's bullshit.
Why is it bullshit?
Because the only way it can possibly function scientifically is off of the placebo effect.
Why do you know that?
Because the amount of any effective pharmacological substance, that was a lot of big words for me there, is so minimal as to have had zero effect whatsoever.
Okay, I'm going to keep asking this question until eventually you're going to be forced to say, I don't know why I'm saying. You're going to say, well, because we studied it and it didn't work.
No, I don't have to study to know that 0.000000001 milligram of bleach isn't going to cure cancer. I don't need to study that because there's enough existing science to know that's not the case.
Okay, you're just completely wrong.
I'm completely right.
You're epistemically.
Like that's the thing. Like he's talking about Ayurvedic medicine
and bleach,
and he talks about bleach curing cancer. They would say maybe don't have all this radiation. Maybe, there's a lot of other things that might be affecting that. But I don't think they're going to say.
Well, also, I've gone to an Ayurvedic practitioner. And when I went, I had to sign a waiver and a form telling the people, and they got it on file, I'm sure. I understand that this is not an alternative to traditional medicine. Traditional. It's very funny because they called this stuff the Western medicine. They call it traditional. That was the real mine on the waiver. But I had to sign a paper, and it's probably like required by the state or something, that I acknowledge and am aware that this is not the same thing as going to the doctor. So if this guy would just do about 15 seconds of research, he probably will be able to keep his cortisol a little bit lowered instead of getting all worked up over stuff that's not even going on.
And again, they do get pretty excited and, loud and stuff like that. And some of that might be even heightened with the speed, just how fast it's going.
Right. Yeah. It is like overwhelming because they're also talking at like 2 times the speed.
Flawed. You're scientifically flawed.
You are flawed because you are in this place where you're willing to accept, which is in a philosophical way, true, that we do know absolutely nothing. And there is a possibility.
It's not about knowing absolutely nothing. It's just about being epistemically humble. That there might be a completely and totally different approach to a problem that you wouldn't have considered within an ordinary paradigm.
I know that all homeopathy is bullshit.
I don't even know if you know that.
I do know that. I know that not even being scientific.
What does homeopathy even claim to do?
Okay, essentially, it's you take...
He's going to force them to finally have to talk about this stupid homeopathy thing.
A vial of something.
Okay.
And you pour a little bit into another vial. So now it's 1/100th of the concentration.
Okay.
And then you do that again like 10 times.
Yeah.
So the concentration of whatever it was is like 1/1 trillionth of what it was.
Okay.
Okay. And that's it. Okay. And then now this one, we did it of bleach and this is for treating your hairline. Or we did this one and this one is of, ashwagandha and this one is going to, help with your male virility.
There was a YouTuber that was using homeopathic stuff for his balding hairline. I forget who it was. But it was homeopathic. I remember.
Right. That's
and just before we continue with this, I just want to read something real quick about Ayurvedic medicine, just so everyone's clear for what this guy's saying. Ayurvedic treatments are personalized based on individuals' unique constitution, which is determined by their dosha balance, as well as such factors as age, gender, environment, and overall health. Ayurveda aims not only to treat specific ailments, but also to prevent diseases and promote longevity by addressing the root causes of imbalances in the mind, body, and mind. Ayurveda uses a combination of diet, herbal remedies, lifestyle practices, yoga, meditation, and cleansing techniques to restore the balance and promote health. So, again, even if he said, the herbal remedies are placebo or whatever, he forgets all the other parts of it. It's pretty crazy.
Well, I don't. You have to know something first to forget it. I don't think he ever bothered to learn it for the first time.
And it's bullshit. It's indefensible. There is nothing. The only effect of it is the placebo effect. That's it.
What if you did it with plutonium?
It would have no effect. It would have no effect because that's how small.
If you split a larger thing and you split it 100 times or 1,000 times,
it's not 1,000 times. It's like 100 trillion times.
100 trillion times, Dan?
Yeah,
Show me one homeopathy thing that's been split 100 trillion. You know how big 100 trillion is?
It's like,
Dan, you know how big a trillion
unregulated.
is?
It's unregulated.
No, you're literally just making shit up. You know homeopathy it's been split 100 trillion times.
All right, fine. Okay, fine.
I don't like this guy. I really don't. But I have to agree with him again. I mean, seriously, what do you just talk? You're just making. Do you even know what a trillion is?
Who do you not like?
Destiny. I've never heard of this Crocodile Dundee. I don't like him either. Really, I mean, I'm not a big fan of either. The Destiny guy, I don't like him because of the Adam 22 fiasco. That's my only run-in with him I've ever had, and it was just silly and ridiculous how he was taken up for that depraved behavior that's causing the crumble of the fabric of our civilization.
Again, I don't know this guy's political leanings and stuff.
I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking about what he said about Adam 16 Grand Mason.
Okay.
Having his wife do a OnlyFans video with adult film actor mere weeks after they had just gotten married. And the Destiny guy showed up basically defending the behavior and talking about his open relationship with his girlfriend, which I don't have any issue with. He can do that. But it kind of like, I don't know, like somebody needs to tell Adam 22 that was nasty. And the people showing up being like, yeah, that's fine. That made me not like him in my own personal opinion.
So someone pushing back, just again, I had a question for you. If that's what Adam 22 wants to do, or if that's what Destiny wants to do in their relationships, and my understanding is you believe everyone makes their own choices and should make their own choices. So what would you say to someone that says, hey, why are you judging them, or why are you saying this isn't good, or you don't like them for it? They're making their own personal choices.
I would say I support their right to make their own personal choices. I didn't say that they shouldn't do it. I said it made me not particularly like him, and I'm not a fan of him because he seems to roll with the likes of Adam 22, who I don't like. And so by association, I don't like him. But he's allowed to do what he wants to do. I mean, I didn't tell him he couldn't do that. Actually, I think I even did a disclaimer and said, which is fine. But it made me personally not like him. And I'm kind of overemphasizing the don't like him because it's my only exposure to this man ever. The only time he ever bleeped across my radar, I was like, ugh, this guy is like taking up for Adam 22 during all this. And he's also like encouraging it. Ew. Like based on that, I just assume there's probably other stuff he might have been doing out here that I would disagree with. And I'm just laying the groundwork to say, even though it's like, I don't like that, I do like that he's snapping back at this guy for being stupid.
Okay. No, I was just wondering, curious for the chat, why you were going in that direction.
Well, that's why.
One plutonium atom.
Yeah. In homeopathy, they measure atoms. How old is homeopathy? Maybe we should have been taking cues from them scientifically.
Are you
an atomic model?
You are so wild. Now, this is good. I love this.
No,
I thought you
have a child understanding.
No, you are defending homeopathy right now.
I'm not defending homeopathy. I'm defending having some humility in an approach to study.
I think this man is like an excellent gaslighter. The pink shirt one. What'd you say?
No, I was going to say, I think he said you had something like a child's understanding of this. Destiny says that to him.
I see.
things.
humility. I
You
know
do.
it's
You're an
bullshit.
ordinary citizen that thinks we know way more about physics, about biology, about medicine than we actually do. If you ask a doctor, even a question of like, how do we actually build like good cardiovascular health? Like, why does cortisol and stress not make your heart healthier, but exercising does? That's an incredibly complicated question. There's not even a clear answer to.
Okay.
So we don't even know something as basic as like building muscle or building like good cardiovascular. You don't even have a solid answer to that. But you're like, oh, but I know homeopathy is wrong and SSRIs are definitely good. How the f can you possibly know that?
I know that homeopathy is bad as much as I know that me slamming my hand on the table isn't going to cure cancer.
The strongest...
Because I trust the experts. Okay. And it's universally stated that it's bullshit. That's how I know. We trust the experts as a side. Okay. They all say there's no substance, there's no benefit, there's nothing that can be done. Every government, when you go to their website and say, hey, what about homeopathy? They all say it's bullshit. Wow. That's how I know. I trust the
also,
experts.
when you check
oh, yes, we should. Let me stop myself.
The government website right now on MDMA, they say it increases the risks of contracting STDs.
Yeah, because you more people. That's true. And yeah, you just got Don DeMarco. I don't know who that guy is.
You proved my point.
No, you proved my point.
You're not. The drug doesn't cause you to develop STDs. It can lead to a difference in behavior. It can lead to a difference in behavior that might actually cause different medical exam down the line. You just did Ayurveda on me right there.
No,
you're saying like, oh, when you take a different substance, it will change your dosha to engage in different behaviors that might make you contract different diseases down the line. How the f is that a medical assessment? So
do you think that it's acceptable then? No, real talk here then. So you're pushing this and that this is okay. You're saying
really? What do you think I'm saying?
Okay, hold on. Let me take a step back.
He doesn't know what I'm saying. I'm going to type what I'm saying, and you're not going to get anywhere near it.
No, okay, but
let me type. Okay.
No, you type. Go ahead. I'm just curious though. If I can go open up a store on Lincoln Road and I'm going to call Dan's Cure All, okay? And
he's always coming out with these random if I can open up. Now we're talking about stores. We were talking about ham sandwiches. Why won't the man just cite a study since he has so many?
I'm going to sell cancer cures, HIV cures. All the cures are going to be sold in my store. And some people will be cured because the placebo effect will have them do it. Is that okay?
No.
Yeah, it's not, because it's fucking bullshit. Even if one person does get cured somehow by the effect of placebo, it's bullshit. It's not science. It's nonsense.
Okay. Do you think that I'm saying that we should all do Ayurveda? What do you think I'm saying? What is my main criticism here?
Yeah. What is he exactly so mad about? That's a great question, actually.
100% certainty, but that's not how we work. We don't know. That's like the religious argument. Like, you can't prove Jesus wasn't here. Like, we don't go that way. You have to prove the opposite. I don't have to prove that your shit doesn't work.
So then what you should say is, I'm not saying that Ayurveda is good. I'm saying that you shouldn't say that it's complete bullshit. No. What you should say is, we have no evidence that it works.
No, you have to prove to me that it works, not the other way around.
No, I don't.
You do. Just like, that's the same argument you would use towards religion. I don't have to. Okay, then fine. Everyone should be Dan religion. And Dan religion, it's you all worship me.
But then I would say you've given me no reason to believe that.
You've given me no reason to believe your shit. There's no studies. There's no nothing. It's all nonsense.
Okay, listen. He had me a little on the fence until he said, absolutely not, in response to the question, should we study this stuff? Should we, or what did he say? We absolutely should, or whatever he said. He answered with absolutely when he said we should not study whether or not it's helpful. Because if you think about it, like, we have a lot of diseases, a lot of problems, symptoms even, that are not currently being able to be treated, cured, even treated by modern medicine. And so, like, what if you have like a kid, your grandma, your dog, even your freaking self? Nothing has worked so far for you. You've tried everything. Why wouldn't you want other things to be studied? Like, that's where he lost me. Pink shirt man. That's where he lost me.
I can tell you from my personal experience that I've talked about it. Again, I know there's people out there where the Western medicine works for mental health and everything. I had some issues during the crisis in the last few years. And I went on Western medicine. It did not work. It made me worse. Then I started following some of the Eastern medicines, not taking any pills, not taking any tinctures, more breath work, meditation, focusing on my mind and, silent meditation. And it brought me back. That's what brought me back. The breath work brought me back. The meditation brought me back. It wasn't the medicines. The medicines made me a zombie, and that's not to say that, hey, just because it didn't work for me, it doesn't work for someone else. Those medicines might work for people. You got to make your own decision. You got to go do your own research and look at what works for you and do your own thing. So even there, this guy's wrong.
Bless his heart. Look at the veins in the neck. Oh my God. Look at that lurch forward. The man is inflamed.
There's a difference between having a affirmative position and having an undecided position. Those don't require equal amounts of evidence. Like, I don't believe in any God. What's your proof? Well, I have none. So I don't believe in any.
Okay, well, it's the same thing saying like Judaism versus.
He's right. That was a good distinction.
Christianity versus anything. There's like it's all just, proving one thing you can't prove.
And I would say, yeah, we have no good evidence for any of these things.
There's no good evidence
for any of these.
For homeopathy
but I can't
or
prove
Ayurveda.
to you that God doesn't exist. I can't do that. I can't prove with what I know for a fact. Christianity is bullshit. I know for
we don't exist on that way for our plane of science. The way that we do science, we do it
so
off of
wrong.
studies.
Oh, kill me.
That's how we work in this thing. We don't work like, hey, I don't know. You know, if you smash your head into a table 20 times, it might cure your cancer. You know, 1,000 people did it and 1% got cured. We don't work that way.
You should find me studies later, because I don't think you've ever read a medical study in your life. You should find me one where it says at the end, this treatment never worked.
I don't think you've ever. You should find some studies, because I don't think you've ever read a medical study in your life, he said to this man.
This treatment does not work. I've never seen that spoken in any medical literature. Usually they'll say there's no good evidence to support this, or this correlation doesn't exist, or this doesn't change this ratio, or this doesn't affect this thing. There's no evidence to believe this, or this is unsupported for treatment at this time, or there's too many contraindications. That's what it'll say. It won't say, we know this doesn't work. This is never going to work. This can't work. That's not how science. That's not how even normal science works. So you're not even correct in an ordinary scientific environment, let alone like a more like philosophically open-minded like scientific environment. You're not even correct in the traditional sciences.
I mean, what you're saying is so.
Oh my God.
Before we even go that comment that you just put up,
Which one?
well, in most cases, when you're taking natural stuff, and the worst thing is that nothing can happen.
The worst thing that can happen is nothing.
Nothing. Yep. Guys, just even from my own experiences, right? Talk about natural stuff. The breath is natural. You know, it's naturally coming. Let's just even say that's natural stuff. Doing breath work in certain situations can be bad, can be deadly. Taking natural herbs in certain situations can be bad. Natural herbs, you know, we don't know what it is. I'm not saying it's bad or good. Just do your research, learn about it, and then go about it. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's safe and that nothing will happen.
And I think that was covered in the like most cases. It's like every single thing. I mean, we did a video one time about somebody who died because she drank too much water. So of course, yeah, everything. Most of the time, in most cases, right. But yeah, I mean, there's some natural stuff that can take care of you real fast.
What were you laughing at this guy for?
I don't remember. I just think I'm just laughing at how worked up he is over something he don't even know about. It's just, I mean, one of the things you taught me this really that has really decreased my overall cortisol through the roof limits and activities is just kind of like realizing you don't have to make your mind up on stuff like ever, really. Some stuff you literally never have to decide one way or the other how you feel about it. You could just stay out of here in the middle and be like, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I could try it. You know, let me look at what I can. Let me take in the info I can. But like people today, and I've been down this path before, feel like they have to have the answer right away. They have to know exactly what the answer is. They have to know exactly what their stance is. And then they got to defend it with like to the death. And it's like, then you end up looking like this man. I mean, lurched across the table, screaming at your friend, red in the face, looking foolish. And hundreds of thousands of people are looking at it and laughing.
Yeah, no, that's one of the greatest things that I picked up is majority of the time, I don't know what's the right answer. Majority of the time, based on my previous experiences, I have thoughts and things that I think, but it's not guaranteed. The right answer, someone else might have the right answer. They might present information that I might learn from. I always don't have to be right. I can be wrong, and I'm happy being wrong. As long as someone presents me information, I'll change my mind. I'll change my viewpoint. If you present me enough convincing information for myself, I'll change it. We don't have to be stuck, because truly, I would say most of us don't know what we don't know. And again, there's a lot that we do not know. We've been taught certain things from the point we were kids. We've been programmed in certain ways. So we just assume that, oh yeah, what I'm thinking, it's the ego. One of the, most religions, especially Eastern religions, talk about your ego and, the I. If you can get rid of the I, and which is the ego, things become a lot smoother. That's for me. It's made life a lot easier the more you can get rid of your ego and respect everyone. And same thing with this guy. I truly believe he's not educated. He might have some ulterior motives or whatever. But overall, he believes that that's fine. I'm going to counter it with this video. But other than that, I wish the guy best of luck, and hopefully someone teaches him in the future with the right information, and he can make a better decision. And based on that information, if he still decides what he feels, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know. He could be right. That's my problem is I'm down to be convinced. But so far all he's doing is screaming. I want to know why he thinks that, and he hasn't told me other than just screaming, "It's bullshit. Shut the silence." It's like some type of virus has overtaken his brain or something.
So wild, because I'm coming at this on the idea of like, hey, listen, if you take an aspirin, 9 times out of 10, that's going to cure your headache. And you're coming at this to decide like you can't prove that smashing your head into the window won't cure a headache, and as such, you shouldn't dismiss it. And that's where
I would say that's true. I had migraines as a child. You know what helped alleviate my migraines? Was smashing my head against the wall.
Okay, so
I'm serious.
all right,
I would lean down, I would sit across the girl, and I do this like 20.
He got him on that one. He got him on that one. If true. Got him.
Times, and you know what? It actually, I don't know why. I don't know if it was adult pain versus the sharp. It actually made my migraines go away. It was the only way I could make them go away when I was a kid. They sucked. I'm not even joking. Somebody in chat, please explain why this works. But it absolutely did. And you know what? If Dan would have been my dad, he said, no, there's no evidence that hitting your head against the wall is going to make your migraine go away. I would have suffered the whole time.
No,
I would have just been sitting there suffering.
had you given you a aspirin is what I would have done. Okay.
Does aspirin help migraines?
Poor Steve smashing his head against the window over and over again. And his dad's like, yeah, you do it. That alternative medicine. All right. Anyways, that was the Dr. K thing. I feel comfortable. I mean, we're both going to have our simps in our corner there, but I feel pretty confident in my total and complete annihilation of everything that's homeopathy and Ayurveda. And
I'm glad.
I look forward to seeing Dr. K in jail as a result of this
Jesus
conversation.
Christ.
Oh my God. This man, he needs a conservatorship or jail.
Yep, he's a believer of that. I think that's the video right there. So thoughts.
I pretty much, as usual, I pretty much said all my thoughts already. I couldn't hold them in till the end. I've personally benefited from Ayurvedic medicine. I've personally benefited from Western medicine, and I have also been harmed by Western medicine as well. I cannot think of a time I've been harmed by Ayurvedic medicine, but I've used Western medicine for many, 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 many years and many, many, many more times. So I don't think it's comparable. I like to have as much, I'll take placebo, me though. If it's like, oh, breathing 15 times makes you believe that you're out of pain and makes you believe that you're able to get through your workday, hell yeah, I'll take placebo. I'm open to all of it, long as it's legal, and all that.
Yeah. No, if placebo, if you're giving me a pill that has nothing in it, is going to fix some problems, some issues I have, give it to me. If it makes me feel better and makes me work better, I'm for it. I think my overall reaction to this video and just completing it out is the one guy, I don't know why he was so aggressive. He seems to have not done his research. He doesn't even know what he was really talking about. I don't think he really understood the topic. I don't think he understood what even it was. And he just kept on going the same thing. Placebo, 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 placebo. Homeopathy. 1 trillionth, 1 trillionth, 1 trillionth. It's bad, it's bad, it's bad. It was like he wasn't even trying to listen or reason or anything else like that. So for that reason, I thought it should be pointed out. But overall, like I said, I watched the Dr. K and Dr. Mike video. I think Dr. K made a lot of points. And as Destiny had said, Dr. K has thought about this for a long time. So his answers were way more formed. Dr. Mike was kind of like this guy a little bit, but not really. He was understanding. He was still willing to debate, and he just had his viewpoint out there, like a little bit like this guy, but not much. He was willing to listen. He was willing to understand. And by that end, they do come to an understanding. So I think that's a great podcast to watch of two people going back and forth. Overall, I would just tell everyone, go learn about all this stuff. You should learn on your own. You shouldn't take my word for it. You shouldn't take Britt's word for it. You shouldn't take Destiny's word for it. You shouldn't take Dr. K's word for it. You should go learn about this stuff. And if you can't go learn about it, then try to find teachers and people that can help you with it. All the knowledge that we get from other people, you have to verify it yourself, because we don't know what people's motives are. We don't know what people's reasonings are. We don't know what their mental health is. We really do not know. So go find out on your own. From my experience, Ayurvedic medicine, as Britt said, has helped me tremendously. Western medicine has helped me tremendously. So I'm going to continue going with the mix of both. And as I learn more, we'll share more on this channel. Just overall, I think I'll probably end up doing a video on Ayurveda and explaining it, and I'll get my pronunciation right for that video, and basically going more detailed into that. So I know this was a pretty long live. I couldn't follow with the comments. I was more in the flow of just talking. Was there anything there?
I mean, I pinned the ones that I thought, at the time, but it was just stuff on the same, lanes of what we were already talking about, people giving their experiences here and there. Like Tango says, Ayurveda was there for me when I didn't have health insurance and I couldn't go to the doctor. It's important to see what works in every category. Just be smart about it. I think that's the fantastic sum up right there. It's like, there's reasons why people might try Ayurveda. I mean, sometimes the only cure or the only treatment we do have, maybe something somebody's allergic to. Penicillin comes to mind. I'm not saying Ayurvedic medication or medicine has anything that could be comparable to penicillin. I have no idea. You should consult with an expert and all that. But I think that's a good sum up too of it all. Just kind of just like everything else, be smart with it. And you're the one in charge at the end of the day of your own choices and your own health, really.
Yep, it's your body, your choices, learn about it. And I think that's a good way of summarizing it. Here, we'll end the live. But guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you turn on your notifications, click that like button, and whatever else all the other YouTubers say, go do that.
Make sure you didn't get unsubscribed. That happens from time to time.
Yeah, make sure you're here. We'll be putting a lot more content like this, discussing health, mental health, discussing physical health, ways to help, tricks, and then also looking at bringing people together as a society, as a culture, as communities, and then also discussing things that are going on in the world that might be affecting us, our rights and the way we live and the way we go about everything. So excited for this journey. Thank you for being here. With that, I'll say peace out.
Bye.